Hello and welcome to Rings Check. I'm Barry and we are back with the first scenario in the Lord of the Rings saga for the living card game, Shadow of the Past. So if you've watched the first video, I've gone through all the cards in the scenario from a story point of view, explained a little bit where we're at. I'm just going to go over the deck now a little more in depth. So we know kind of what we're looking for when we're playing, and then hopefully I'll be able to beat the quest in a timely enough fashion, but this first scenario is relatively straightforward, even if I don't get the perfect kind of hand. So if you watched the first version, you'll have seen almost all the cards in this deck. I did make another quick change to add in Half-Fast Gamgee. Now that is Samwise's uncle. He goes out hunting. In general, he's kind of hunter, and I put him in because there's actually not a huge amount of purple, so leadership in the deck. And if I don't want to kind of move, if I don't need resources elsewhere, like there's no point moving them around parting gifts, he can come out and be quite useful. If you wanted to, having a third Rosie cut in and just one off Half-Fast Gamgee would be fine as well, but what you don't particularly want is a whole bunch of dead cards in your hand, so I kind of scaled back a little on that. Whilst Rosie is an absolute staple in Hobbit decks, you don't necessarily need her in this one. So I've gone quite ally heavy, even though this scenario can be difficult due to the number of allies you have increasing your hide requirements. So hide is a mechanism in this game where you have to flip over the number of cards equal to the hide value from the encounter deck, and the threat value, you have to beat that before flipping them over. You have to commit characters to hide and then check their willpower versus the threat. So if the more allies you have, and it wouldn't be uncommon to have say 6-7 allies out in this deck by the time you get to that stage, would add quite significantly to the hide check value. But luckily many of the cards are designed to attack, so they would still be standing after the questing and the staging has started. So let's just quickly go through all the cards and kind of what they can do, and we'll start with the allies. Cautious Halfling lets you look at the top card of the deck, encounter deck, when it's played, and if it's not an enemy, draw a card. So this is just a nice little bit of card draw, assuming you can avoid an enemy, and if you know an enemy's coming, it also gives you a little bit of foresight to know how much you need to quest for. And if you, even if it's not an enemy, you know that foreknowledge is really useful, and she's a really useful card to have. She doesn't quest for much, you probably don't want to necessarily defend with her, but she is there if needed. Curious Brandybuck, these guys are really useful because you don't have to pay for them, right? So you'll notice they're out of the Spirit Sphere, and I have no spirit resources. But after you travel to a location, you can put Curious Brandybuck into play from your hand, under any player's control, yours. And then when that location goes away, it's just kind of a free 2 extra quest for a turn. And again, having a body down can often be quite useful, and in particular if it takes you a couple of turns to get through an active location, you know, these guys stick around long enough to be useful. Then in terms of fighting, we have Fang, Grip and Wolf, all of which are pretty much the same, but Wolf is the better fighter with 2 fight versus 1 fight and 1 fight, and these can all fetch each other. So as long as they're in your deck, the first one you play, you can go get the second one, which means you can go get the third one, and removing their ally cost. They're really nice cards to have, particularly if you wanted a whole bunch of allies in play. I'm sure there's some pretty cool builds you could do with these Dugs. Do you like Dugs? That would be pretty cool, but in here they're thematic and they are Farmer Maggot's dogs. Farmer Maggot, his responsibility is almost never going to go off. If you engage somebody, you are going to kill them that turn. Otherwise, why would you engage them? You don't want to be taking hits repeatedly. So his ability is almost never going to happen, but you can use it to dodge crows. So if a crow comes down, they've got 0 attack, you could just ignore it, and if you had Farmer Maggot in hand, be able to drop him and kill that crow for free, effectively. Gaffer Gamgee is there to distract the Black Riders if you ever need to avoid an attack, because you don't have a suitable defender. Those Black Riders do hit really hard. Return Gaffer Gamgee to hand and you prevent their attack. He is key, and being able to play him every turn means you can just keep fighting through as many Black Riders as show up. Half-Fast Gamgee is so-so. Putting him in, we might keep him in for future scenarios as well, particularly those with side quests. He can also help shuffle resources around, and as I say, there's not a huge amount for Sam to spend his resources on. You're not too likely to get this down, but he's a backup option if nothing else, and a 2 questers not to be sniffed at, particularly as a hobbit. Robin Smallborough, also his ability not going to do anything when you're playing solo, but a 2 quester, and he only costs 2. The fewer people you need to send on a quest, or the more people you have to send on a quest, the more you can have standing for hide tests. Just useful to have. Rosie Cotton. Now, we don't have a lot of tricks for Rosie Cotton. We do have Fast Hitch, but generally being able to keep her up until you see if you need to do a hide test or need to quest for more is really useful. She's not got much of a backup in terms of her attack or defense, so she's not adding anything there in this scenario, and that is most of our allies there. Attachments, Merry is your main attacker. He starts with 4 attack in the campaign because you've got Frodo, who is a 4th Hobbit, and so Merry gets +1 attack for each Hobbit hero you control, and Frodo is a 4th Hobbit hero, so he starts with 4 attack, which makes him like a powerhouse for a 6 threat starter. Now he's not very strong, he doesn't have a lot of health, so you've got to be careful that he doesn't die, as he's the only one that's really going to kill anything. But adding the daggers on gives him another +1 or usually +2 attack, and you can get 2 of them on him, as these are the only restricted attachments. So swinging for 8 along with a backup of a single one of your fighters is usually enough to take out any threats you might come across. Fast Hitch, staple in Hobbit decks, can only be attached to a Hobbit, but being able to quest, stand, contribute to an attack, potentially defend if it comes to it, is really key. Putting it on Rosie would allow her to quest for 4. So you can put her into the quest, stand her up, and then trigger her ability for 4 willpower. Fellowship of the Ring, again another sort of questing powerhouse. Your cards shouldn't be getting killed, particularly in this first scenario, and so really just gives you +3 quest, typically most turns, if you can get it down. Hobbit Cloak has a limit of 1, but giving that to Sam means that on the first turn you engage a high threat enemy. He's got 4 defense, and with his 3 hit points, typically he can take a hit. So he can defend for you. You don't have to kill somebody, which means you get to keep Fellowship of the Ring for longer. Resourceful, ideally you want to put this on Pippin, because each turn you really want to play Gaffer Gamgee, engage someone, pick up Gaffer Gamgee, kill them, and do it again. So resourceful here is really handy for accelerating your resources. If you get a second one, definitely put it on Merry. There's a lot more red in this than there is purple. A lesson in caution, I might as well the last one. Self-preservation, just a one-off, just in case Sam takes an early hit and you're worried that he's going to be killed if you need to defend again. Being able to heal that 2 damage that he's probably got will be key, but if you don't see it, often Sam's not getting hurt that much anyway, so and you can always throw somebody else under the bus if you don't want to risk it. The event, A Lesson in Caution, helps just keep your threat down. Usually you will be drawing a card and reducing your threat by 2, but if you've already managed to pick up a Shire folk or 2 early, you can in fact use that to play some of your higher value cards for 1 less, right? So secrecy 1. So being able to play, I mean, you don't have massively expensive cards. You could get resourceful for free in theory. Secrecy, as far as I'm aware, stacks. Gaffer Gamgee comes down for 1, Farmer Maggot for 2, Half Fast for 2, and they can move those resources about, so all very handy. Fainting, if you don't have Gaffer Gamgee, then Feint works just as well. On occasion, you'll have to defend 2 attacks in a turn, so having Gaffer Gamgee and Feint as a backup is pretty good. Then Frodo's Intuition is just your card draw, so in addition to the Halfling, the Cautious Halfling, Frodo's Intuition is going to be where you get most of your cards from. Halfling Determination. Early doors, you might need this to finish off a Black Rider if you get an unlucky sort of engagement choice, or use it for defending on Sam. Usually you're not going to be using it for questing, as you should have enough. Parting Gifts, as I say, not a lot of leadership in here. You can move Sam's resources about, and the Shire folk just keeps your threat low, so everything keeps triggering. Remember, when you engage an enemy with a higher threat level, Pippin lets you draw a card. He also pushes that threat level up, and Sam readies up when you engage an enemy with a higher threat level. So that is the deck. I'll post a link to this in the description. But typically you've got more than enough here to be able to take care of this first quest. So, A Shadow of the Past. Before leaving the Shire, Bilbo Baggins left his entire estate at Bag End to his nephew Frodo, including the magic ring he discovered on his adventure. After his uncle's departure, Frodo was visited by the wizard Gandalf, who suspected that Bilbo's ring was in fact the Master Ring forged by the Dark Lord Sauron for the Dominion of Middle-earth. When Gandalf threw the ring into Frodo's fireplace, ancient runes appeared on the band that confirmed it was indeed the One Ring, an ancient and indestructible evil. Knowing that servants of the enemy would be searching for the ring, Gandalf told Frodo he must leave the Shire and take the ring to Elrond in Rivendell. He advised Frodo to sell Bag End and acted as if he were moving to Buckland to avoid drawing suspicion before the wizard himself left to seek help. Gandalf promised to return, but danger has arrived sooner than he expected. Black Riders have appeared in the Shire looking for Baggins, and the Grey Wizard is yet to be seen. Frodo knows he can't wait any longer. He must move quickly and quietly if he hopes to make it to Buckland alive. So that all very quickly tells the story that I went over for the first sort of 4 chapters of Lord of the Rings, and how they go through the cards. So let me put on some tunes. Let me go full screen so we can see as much as possible. And then let's talk about our setup here. So 3 is company. Set Buckleberry Ferry out of play. Add 1 Black Rider to the staging area. Make Bag End the starting location, the active location, sorry, and shuffle the encounter deck. So that is all done. Let's just shuffle it again just for fun. Then the story here. The ring Frodo Baggins inherited from his uncle Bilbo is indeed the One Ring. After conferring with the wizard Gandalf, Frodo decides to leave the Shire and take the ring to Rivendell. So we flip that, and this just gives some instructions on what to do with hide tests and how you can progress. And so Frodo's friends insist on joining him in his adventure, but danger finds them sooner than anticipated when Black Riders appear in the Shire. So Pippin, Sam and Frodo are going to head out together. Merry's gone on ahead, but we'll meet him before too long. So here we're playing campaign mode. Campaign mode comes with burdens and boons, and you have to keep a record of them as you go. So here we're going to add Gandalf's delay to the staging area, as it says, and this means that we draw 1 less starting card. Now we've already drawn 1, so I'm just going to put that back, shuffle it away, because as soon as you load the deck it gives you 6 cards, but that is not a problem. Actually, can I'm just wondering if there's a way to just have a starting hand of 5, but no, seems unlikely. So here Gandalf's delay. Gandalf's left the Shire to go looking for help, gone to Saruman, who we know holds him up and stops him coming back in time for Frodo's departure. The next day, Frodo became really anxious and kept a constant lookout for Gandalf. Thursday, his birthday morning, dawned as fair and clear as it had long ago for Bilbo's great party. Still, Gandalf did not appear. So that just gets tucked away, don't need that anymore. We also have Mr. Underhill, and so as it says there, I'll give you a travelling name now. When you go as Mr. Underhill, Gandalf, Michael Scott. No, the Fellowship of the Ring. So here, when Frodo's travelling, he wants as few people they encounter to know that he is Frodo Baggins, so he goes travelling as Mr. Underhill. And that just gets attached onto Frodo there, attached to the ring bearer, and that is Frodo's role in this one. So let's have a look at our mulligan. Now this is going to help reduce threat, or I can play something for cheaper, but as I'm going to play Hobbit Cloak and Dagger of the Western Nessie, I think we'll just keep this as it is. It's not the greatest of starting hands, but I don't think I necessarily need the greatest of starting hands. So let's just load up this first one. We draw a card, draw into a Cautious Halfling. That's really handy, just kind of gets our card draw started, hopefully. Here I will play the Cloak on Sam, because it's pretty important that he's able to defend if it comes to it. So the Hobbit Cloak gets, if it's a Hobbit hero, +2 defense when defending. Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do, because this has a condition on what does it, I will add it to the card, and that will just remind me that the enemy has to have a higher encounter, a higher threat value than my threat. So that's fine. I also need the knife or the dagger on Merry, so he's going to start with 4. He's going to get 1 as default and 1 with a condition on it. And then I can't afford to play anything else right now, so we will go to questing. So I don't need to do too much. Getting rid of bag ends and moving on to here is not something I necessarily want to rush into. Getting set up a little more is better. However, not the end of the world if I do over quest here. So if I was to quest for 3, 4, 5, so I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 3 here. So assuming that something comes out with 2 threat, I'm only just getting rid of bag ends, and not much more. So I think this is fine. I'll quest with everybody. I'm not going to be attacking anybody. So let's just see the card. And in fact, even worse, we just top decked a Black Rider, which sucks quite a lot. We're in no position to be fighting these guys yet. But that is not a problem. So I succeed by 1. I'll place the progress on Bag End. And Bag End, it was popularly believed, whatever the old folk might say, that the hill at Bag End was full of tunnels stuffed with treasure. Would be nice. So that's the end of the rounds, and actually we've now got another couple of pretty good cards to be dropping. I'm going to play Fellowship of the Ring on Frodo. Now that does turn off his cancel effect. I'll be okay for a turn. I will... Is this Christmas music? It claims to be Celtic fantasy music, but it definitely sounds like "Oh, tidings of..." Yeah, it is. Right, never mind, we'll power through. Actually, you know what, let's just skip this one, shall we? Yeah, it is God Rest You Merry Gentlemen. Next song. I need something that's a bit more dramatic, but something that's a bit... Gonna get the heart racing. There's 2 Black Riders after me. That'll be the one in the Shire and the one patrolling the road. Fine. Then I will use... Oh no, I've still clicked on... I've still clicked on YouTube. I've come back. Here I will drop Pippin's resources to play the Cautious Halfling, so I can look at the top card of the encounter deck, and if it's not an enemy, which it is, so I don't get the card draw, which sucks, but knowing that that's an enemy is okay. Let me think. So he's going to attack for nothing. Still pretty low on my threat. Sam will stand back up. So this is fine. This is actually going to get my card draw started as well, which is nice. I'm not going to bother moving Sam's resource over to Mary yet. I might for Farmer Maggot later. And in fact, why don't I do that? Why don't I use Farmer Maggot to kill the crow, and that will let me quest with everybody this turn again, because there's already 8 threat in there. And I know I'm not going to get a hide test, so let's do it this way. So quest, 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 quest. Succeeding by 2, so it's just going to be even money. No, I'm not just even money. Each hero gets +1, so let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if that's the case, I only want to succeed by 2. So if you were to quest and you were not to, no, that succeeds by 1. Have I overdone this? What if you didn't quest and you did? That succeed by none. Now, I'm only doing this because I knew Evil Crow was on top. I'm just trying to do the math on... I want to place 2 progress because I want one more turn at doing not much. So if you quested and you didn't, that's 3. No, there's nothing I can do because there's a 2 difference between... I only want to succeed by 2. Can't do it, can I? That would turn off all 4. No, I'm just going to have to go for it, and I think that's going to put a 3rd Black Rider in the display. So problematic for me, but we will continue regardless. Or did I just go for 0? You know what? I think my better bet is actually just to go for 0. So I need a couple of turns just to get another dagger out or something that's going to do enough damage to the Black Riders. So Cautious Halfling, doing a really good job here on the quest. Lets me know that this is coming up so I can plan out exactly how much willpower I want to send on the quest to stall the game or advance the game as I see fit. So 0, so I don't have to do anything. Oh, of course, Bag End will let me draw 4 cards when it leaves play. But I think next turn is still a better turn to do it. So that is the quest. I get no progress. I'm going to optionally engage the crow, which is going to let me draw a card for Pippin. Now this is not worth playing for 4, but if I can get myself back into secrecy range, it is definitely worth playing for 1. And I can do that with this, so that might be my move next turn. Anyway, it's going to get a shadow card for combat. I will defend with Sam, and then it's got a base damage of 0. After the attacking enemy engages the next player and makes an immediate attack. Now, in this case, there is no next player, so when you're playing solo, this does not trigger, and that is a really good thing to remember. It's not going to make a second attack against you. There are some shadow effects that will make it attack twice, but in this case, if it cannot move to the next player, it would not make the immediate attack. So that's fine, and you get to stay where you are. Perfect. So we ready up. I've got some heals, but don't need that necessarily. Let me think. Now what I did want to do, in fact what I have to do, is play Parting Gifts. So inside the hall there was piled a large assortment of packages and parcels and small articles of furniture. These are all things that Bilbo left behind when he gave Bag End to Frodo. So I play that, which lets me move 1 resource from here to here, and then I will spend all of these resources to play Farmer Maggot. In fact, Farmer Maggot can go down here, and then when Farmer Maggot enters play, deal 2 damage to an enemy if its engagement cost is higher than your threat, which it is, and that's enough to kill that. So don't forget that damage dealt direct does not get reduced by shields, reduced by defense. The second thing I will do is spend Sam's resource to play this. So it's going to let me draw 1 card, a second resourceful, interesting, and then it will let me reduce my threat by 2. Now there's a couple of options there, but I need to be at 20 threat or less for secrecy to kick in. So now secrecy's kicked in, I'm going to spend 1 to put it on Pippin, and I'm going to spend another one to put it on Merry. So Frodo's resources, the Fellowship resources, can be spent on neutral cards. It's his own sphere, and that's the only thing you really need to worry about with that. So now I'm attacking for 5, 6, 7, 8, and I need 10 to take out a Black Rider in a single turn. So the riding figure sat quite still with its head bowed, as if listening. From inside the hood came a noise as of someone sniffing. Well, I need the card draw, so I think if I all-out quest, my threat's still really low, so I shouldn't have to engage anybody that I don't need to, or that I don't want to. What if I kept Sam standing? 1, 2, 3 progress. My only concern is if a hide test comes out and Sam's 4 isn't enough to get me past it. So I'm only succeeding by 3. I'm hoping that this is a treachery and I can get rid of both of these. It is doomed to. So now I must make a hide 2 test. So I can't return a Nazgul enemy engaging me to the staging area. So I must do the hide 2 test. So he's seeking it, and all he's thought is bent on it. So get rid of you. So Sam's going to commit to the hide test. He's got 4. Hopefully I don't get a Black Rider. But first one, 3. Please don't be anything. Nothing. Whew. So Sam on his own was enough to get us hidden there, which is perfect. We do still succeed by 3. Which is enough to clear Bag End and put the 1 here. Now quest on here first, so that will go to the victory display, and I get to draw 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. So this is looking very nice, and then we also can now advance to the next stage of the quest because Bag End is in the victory display. So a shortcut to mushrooms. As Frodo watched, he saw something dark pass across the lighter space between 2 trees and then halt. It looked like the black shade of a horse led by a smaller black shadow. The black shadow stood close to the point where they had left the path, and it swayed from side to side. Frodo thought he heard the sound of snuffling. The shadow bent to the ground and then began to crawl towards him. So when revealed, I have to go and get a Black Rider, and I can't cancel it, and this is the part of the quest where each ally makes it more difficult for me to be hidden. You know, the more people helping me, the more likely the Black Riders are to find me. So I'll look in the encounter deck here. We will find another Black Rider, and this makes questing hard. So I guess we'll just have to see what we can do. It may end up being that I have to play Halfling Determination on a quest, despite saying that generally you wouldn't. So here's what I'm going to do. Per round, resource, Merry gets 1 additional one from Resourceful. Similarly, per round, resource, Pippin gets 1 as well. So now when I ready up, automatically adds those. So this is marginally disappointing, shall we say. Having both of these in my hand is not ideal, because I need a resource match for when it's not fetched from the deck. But I can perhaps start making some headroom against these Black Riders. Oh, I never did the hide test on this Black Rider when it came out. It was not bolded and I didn't see it. And I think I was fully exhausted, which means I would have had a number of people dead. So let's instead... The only real way I can remedy that would be to make it not attack. Actually no, both of these would have... I would have had 2 attacks against me. But I wouldn't have had a surge because I could have returned... No, it doesn't engage me. Oh no, it would have engaged me. So they both would have engaged me. I could have dodged 1 attack, so... forgetting about these hide 2s was a a bit of a bummer. Well, let's see if we get to the end of the quest anyway. I will put Mr. Underhill in the victory display, so that is not an option for me anymore. But chances are I would have failed the quest because I would have taken 2 hits from Black Riders that I could not defend, or at least taken 1 hit that I could not defend. And I can't 100% remember the order in which I had to send things back and whatnot. So I'm going to play on. I don't believe in just, you know, packing up, restarting because I got something slightly wrong. There's a lot of overhead in the game. It's already looking quite difficult. Having 3 Black Riders out here is troublesome to deal with at the very least, and I don't have a very strong setup here, so I will plod on and see how far I can get. But if I do have to make another big error, I will restart. So questing time. No, I was going to play some cards, of course. So play Gaffer Gamgee, and the advantage of having Resourceful on Pippin is that I can play Gaffer Gamgee every turn. So as long as I have 1 engage with me, I can just start chipping away at its health. Then I have 2 more, and I'm not sure whether I want to play... Yes, I think I'll play some dogs and try and kill the Black Riders outright. So if I play Wolf from Mary, I can then fetch... who have I got? Grip. So that leaves Fang somewhere in here. Can I see him? Can I see him? Yes, here. So Fang comes out, shuffle my deck. Now I no longer need a resource match for this, so I will spend these 2 resources, even though I should keep that 1 resource for the cancel. But I will then play Fang. So I said this requires 10 to kill it, so it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that means I can quest. Still -3. I just have to hope to not get a hide test, and if I do, I can still commit these guys and not take a Black Rider to fight this turn. Let's see. Whoa! By the way, timely. So in the books, a shortcut for mushrooms. The group meet Gildor and Glorian, and his singing with the elves that he's with scare off one of the Black Riders. So I will take control of Gildor, and that is excellent. And at the end of the round, I would have to spend a resource to keep him. I cannot do that because I don't have a resource. So a little disappointing, but let's not complain too much. I successfully quest for 1. I will optionally engage this guy. I can only optionally engage 1, which stands Sam and draws a card from Pippin. This is going to help keep my threat down. Then I will... I think Gildor might as well defend, I suppose. So let's deal a shadow card, start of combat. If Gildor defends, he has 6, and if he's dead it doesn't really matter because I can't save him. So he will defend. We will flip the shadow card, not a problem. He takes 2 wounds. Oh, not 2 progress, 2 wounds. So he's still alive. And then I hit back for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 if needs be. But that is enough to kill him. And let's not forget Merry's trigger, that after Merry participates in an attack that destroys an enemy, stand another character. So that is fine. But unfortunately, like ships in the night, we had a very thematic encounter there. That Gildor came, saved us from a Black Rider, but now we must continue ever onwards. Super duper. So I will play, I guess I could have played this in any window, but the Shire folk. If more of us valued food and cheered and song above hoarded gold, it would be a merrier world. Music's taking a turn, but reducing my threat by 4, which I kind of need. Let's think about what else I may want to do here. Now, for every ally I put out, I'm making my hide tests worse. but I guess I'm okay with that, at least for the time being. So I will play the last Hound. Grip can come out. I mean, it's not strictly necessary, is it? I've got enough to kill a Black Rider, but I do need more quest to get through this as quickly as possible. So let's move to questing. Quest. Got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so I can quest with 2 more, but let's just leave them up in case there is a hide test to come. Then we flip an encounter, and this is a Surge. So attached to a hero, and after player fails a hide test, discard attached hero. Well, it's only right that I put this on Frodo, and so if I do now fail a hide test, particularly after having missed that one, then I would lose the game, but that is only fair. And then we get Evil Crows, no problem. So I make 2 progress, and we move into the travel phase. Not a lot of locations have come out in this one, which is a little sad, but if I kill all the enemies, it just makes the end of the game that much easier. So the encounter step, I'll optionally engage this Black Rider. Lets me stand, lets me draw a card. He gets a shadow card. I will choose to return Gaffer Gamgee to my hand to prevent the Black Rider from attacking. So Gaffer Gamgee's told them that we're already on our way, and then asked why. Why is none of my business or yours. So that's fine, so that gets rid of this. Good, got rid of another hide test, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kills another Black Rider. Well, doesn't exactly kill them, right, but we won't be seeing them for a couple of turns. So now, this is nice. I want to get rid of the last Black Rider, so I will want to avoid that attack again. So Gaffer Gamgee comes down, and I will hitch while the hitching's good, and that hitch will go for... I'm going to put it on Sam, because that will let me stand him up to do a hide test, if necessary. So spend the resource there. So here I'll quest. Succeeding by 6. I wouldn't mind succeeding by more. And now that I've got Sam on a hide test, I only need these 10 to kill one of these. So I'll quest for 8. I will action before revealing staging to stand Sam back up. I will reveal an encounter card, which is Surge. So minus 10 engagement cost. And then Surge minus another 10 engagement cost. So I'll work that out in a minute. But Surge, the first player must either exhaust the 1 ring or raise his threat by 3. I will exhaust the 1 ring. Surge. A location! Hooray! So, this is so-so. But I succeed by 6, so that is great. I will optionally travel to Bam Furlong, which lets me play Curious Brandybuck from my hand. So after you travel to a location, put Curious Brandybuck into play from your hand. He's only going to be out for a turn, but that should let me blast through the remainder of this quest, ideally. Then, his current engagement level is 15, so he's almost certainly coming down, and I won't get a ready from it, and I won't get a draw from it because his current threat level is 15 plus the 4 from Pippin, so he's only 19, so it's not an optional engagement, it is a mandatory engagement. Am I better? Should I take them both? I certainly can take them both. Hope that the crow doesn't do any damage. Just take it defended on the Curious Brandybuck. But if he dies for some reason, then we'll be very sad. So if I engage the crow optionally, that is above my threat level. So I get to draw a card through Pippin. And Sam gets his plus numbers this turn. Because that's going to let me not kill the crow, but I can do a little bit of damage, just should it matter. then the Black Rider will actually engage me, and then they'll both get shadow cards. So I'm going to defend with Brandy Buck against the Evil Crow. See what it is. After this attack, attacking enemy engages the next player. There is no next player, so we've already covered that. And it does 0 damage, so no harm, no foul. Then I will return Gaffer Gamgee to hand to ensure that that doesn't attack. Then 6, no, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have to use Sam because, of course, the other, the +1 from the dagger doesn't apply, as the engagement level is lower than my threat, but that is enough. So that worked out quite well. Maybe I shouldn't have taken the crow, but not too bad. Not too bad at all. And then we're into the next round. So pretty much a given that I'm going to play Gaffer Gamgee because I need that to survive a lot of the time. If I keep the 10 up that I need to kill Black Rider, and in addition I need 3 attack, so 1, 2, 3, we'll keep Gaffer Gamgee up I suppose. Then we quest, there's the only thing you can do. I will, before revealing the encounter card, Fast Hitch. Then I will get an encounter card, Surge, so I will exhaust the 1 ring. Surge, Peril, and Hide 2. So now I must hide 2. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So +8 to this hide test, which I will have to commit everybody to. So it's not questing, is it? So it's 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's 12 versus a base 8 with a hide 2. So it's 12 versus 10. Ah, no, that's game. How terribly, terribly sad. Oh wait, could I have... I had the 3 resources. So here's what I'm going to do. Would I have quested with them though? Would I have quested with them? I'll tell you what I actually would have done. I would have dropped... but anybody I'd drop... Yeah. Because if I were to play the... If I were to play half-fast, I would have moved one of Mary's resources onto Pippin. Pippin would have played the Cautious Halfling. I would have seen the first Surge card, but I would not have known this was coming. I probably would have overcommitted with at least half-fast on the quest, which means I'd be able to add 1 to the test, but there would have been another 2 on the test from this. So this is where having a whole bunch of allies in this quest is a problem. Usually I can get away with it, but this time I failed. So we are going to restart, we're going to reload, mark it as a defeat, and play through one more time. This time without God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, perhaps. So Gandalf's Delay means I have to get rid of this card. Shuffle. Frodo comes into play with Mr. Underhill. And am I keeping this as an opening hand? It's kind of mid, but I might get a couple of card draws out of it. And of course Bag End does power up quite quickly. You know what, I think I'm going to mulligan that and just hope for a slightly better start. Where Dagger, yeah, okay, so this is actually a lot better. I'm able to take on a Black Rider earlier if needs be. So, starting again, first round. Oh, Rosie, this is going okay. We will play the Shire Folk, reduce one's threat by 4. Then I'll play the Dagger on Mary. And don't forget he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 threat specific. Then Fast Hitch will definitely be on Sam, and then we'll keep the other resources for the time being. I was about to start a new round, that'd be wrong. So we will quest. Do I want to progress? No, because that's just going to bring out another Black Rider. So I'm going to leave it here. Before revealing encounters, I'm going to stand up Sam, and then I'll get a new encounter card. Attach the hero when I fail a hide test. Well, again, to pay for my earlier sins, I'll put it on Frodo. Exhaust the one ring. Also fine. Surge. Return each Asgul if none are done. Surge. And then Gildor. So that's an early Gildor. And I do have a resource to pay for him, so I could look at just keeping Gildor around with Frodo's resources, and a little later, if I get resourceful or plentiful gifts, I can move some additional resources onto Frodo to pay for anything from the Fellowship Sphere. Fine, that is 3, which is the perfect amount here. So we get 3 progress, which clears this. I do wish to send it to the victory display, thank you. Lets me draw 4 cards. And what lovely cards they are. Having the Shire folk again should keep me at a very, very low... Oh, I should have flipped this. Should keep me at a very, very low threat level for most of the game. So I can play that now. Then any other actions before... No, I think this is fine. So Gildor's requirement is at the end of the round, which we're going into now, is to spend a resource if I want to keep him around. And I do want to keep him around. He is an excellent ally to have. Going into round 2, and I could play Rosie. I'm not going for the defense just yet, so I think playing Rosie and then having options for hide tests and whatnot is an idea. So Rosie comes out. I'll leave it there, I suppose. I can full on quest. Let's see, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What have I just quested for 3? No, I'd need an extra turn just to get the defense up high enough. No, maybe it wouldn't. No, I've got Faint. Okay, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can kill him this turn, which is fantastic. So I'm just gonna quest for 3. I'm gonna see what I get. So here's a hide 2 test. So here's what I need to really put into the. I can't fail a test, so let's put in 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hide 2. So discard 1, discard 2. So only needed 1, but it's definitely succeeded there. We will use Rosie's ability to put her power into the quest, and I failed by 3, and I can't take the Black Rider this turn, but I will next turn. I'll spend Frodo's resource to keep Gildor, and we will ready up. Okay, so now spend this on the Hobbit cloak. Gaffer Gamgee comes down for 2. Could put a Hobbit cloak on. No, I don't have the resources for it. I've got enough to pay for both of these if it comes to it. But let's quest. So I need a little more now. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Quest. I mean, I'm kind of running out of secrecy if I don't quest more. So let me think. I can actually get +2 attack out of this, so this seems fine. We're now questing for 0. Fine. No, mate. So I could cancel this, but that would be the end of Gildor, and I don't want that. So I will go and fetch myself another Black Rider, I suppose. This is not how I hoped this stage would go. And then I will throw in Rosie. So I only failed by 2. Still under my starting threat, but I've used up much of the power I have to keep myself in secrecy. I will optionally engage a Black Rider, which will get me a card draw for Pippin. We'll stand Sam. Oh, of course, Sam attacks for 2 as well. Did I account for that? Don't know if I did. Did I fast hit him? I don't think I did. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I do still have enough to kill him. We'll deal him a shadow card. I will choose to return Gaffer Gamgee to hand to prevent the attack. And then we hit for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to take out the first one. Now I can keep doing that in an ideal world. I faint next turn, I Gaffer Gamgee next turn. It's something. I pay the 1 resource to keep Gildor, and on to the quest we go. So this is going to sit in my hand for a long time until I can get rid of Gildor. But I'm okay-ish with that. So here I can... What was my best bet? I think I'll just keep my threat low. I know I don't 100% need this right now. Oh no, this is Secrecy 1, so actually I don't even need to pay for this. So I can draw 1 card. And I can give the next card I have Secrecy 1. I believe it stacks, which gives me Secrecy 4, so this is free. And in this instance I want to give it to Frodo. Might live to regret that, but that's okay. So per round, resources plus 1. So that lets me spend... That will let me build up into the Fellowship sphere. Then... Is there any point in moving the Hobbit Cloak? The answer to that is no. So I think I'll just leave it there. I don't want to put anything else down as things stand. We will quest. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I should have remembered, of course, I can quest with all of these. We will flip a card. So location, which is pretty nice. -4. Rosie goes into the quest. Pushes my threat up again. No worries. We'll travel to the marsh. Then optionally engage a Black Rider, which stands Sam, boosts his stats, gets me a card draw. This is nice as well. But particularly nice. Oh, it has to go in a Hobbit. I was going to say can go there, can quest and attack, but that was optimistic. Give him a shadow card. Merry will distract him somehow and faint, which gets rid of you. And then we can attack for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, getting rid of his second Black Rider. When did the first... Why do I feel like I didn't do a hide test again? Maybe I'm making that up. Who knows? How much progress did I make last time? None. I put my threat up. That's right. Sick. Pay this 1 resource, and then we refresh. And things are okay. Oh, of course, I should have put the Curious Brandy Buck into play when I went to the marsh. Right. So definitely play Gaffer Gamgee. Then don't care about any of the rest of these. We will quest. Reveal an encounter card. So you can get another Nazgul. You know what? I think I will. Yes, I think I will. So is this the last one in here? So it does mean I'll have to get one out of the discard pile for moving on. So there's 8 in here. I'm questing for 10. I need a little more. 11, 12. It clears you, but doesn't do me any other favours. This comes down. Sam readies. I get a card draw. Then you get a shadow card. Return Gaffer Gamgee to hand to prevent the attack. And then we attack for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Which gets rid of you. Still not out of the, the Shire yet. We're just dodging Black Riders left and right. Pay the 1 for Gildor. And here we go. So I've picked up a feint, which is excellent. So I can get rid of this last one. Let's play on. Ooh, now. Yes, I care about questing, right? So play you for 2. Which gives you +1, you +1, you +1, you +1. We will quest. I'll clear the location, so you should go to the bottom of my deck. Owner's deck, bottom. So it's fine. Questing for 6, or 6 progress at least, should be enough to at least get out of here finally. Cheeky location, perfect. Succeed by 4, which clears you. And then when revealed, has to be from the discard pile. We get another Black Rider. Then I'll travel here, which drops the Brandy Buck. Then I will optionally engage you. Don't have to do anything else on that, do I? Can't blah blah blah. Nope. Optionally engage you, which stands. You gets me a card draw. Yeah, we're still in card draw territory. Deal a shadow card. Mary will pay 1 to feint the attack. Which stops that, and then I'll attack for 10. Excellent work. Cool. New pay 1 for Gildor. New round. Everything's going fairly swimmingly. So I don't need this for the attack. I'm going to save it for the time being. I will, however, drop Halfstead here. 1, 2, 3 to put up on Frodo. So I've got a somewhat get out of jail free card for questing. In fact, I just full on blast the quest this turn. Now, if I take care of this and then move on to Buckleberry Ferry. So quest. You stay standing. I feel we're due some hide tests. Not this time though. Succeed by 5. 3 clears you. 2 gets you, but I will also exhaust Rosie for another 2. Then optionally engage the... Wait. Play Gaffer Gamgee. And I would have quested with him as well. So there's one more. Then we optionally engage you. Stand Sam. Lets me draw a card. Give it a shadow card. Pick up Gaffer Gamgee. Doesn't attack. Hit it for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 if we need to. End of you. Oh, I should have, of course, also optionally moved there. That's going to put you to the bottom of the deck. Not that is, but move to owner's deck bottom. Super. Done and done. Pay 1 for Gildor. No, I don't want a mulligan, I want a new round. Nice. Well, doesn't matter so much about getting these. Let's think. So I can't really pay for Fast Hitch until I get Gaffer Gamgee down. But let's quest. Everybody else stays standing. Succeeding by 10. How much do I need to succeed by? 9, 13. I guess you quest. Fine, so I need 13, 14, 15, so 10. Put that in, so it's 12. So you're gone. Succeed by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dope. Travel to here. This helps me out with hide tests. Pay 1 for Gildor. So we're pretty much on the home stretch here. Yeah, I mean, this is okay. But not as okay as Gaffer Gamgee. You know, let's just move. These guys seem much more like permanent features than they were last time. I only need to succeed by 4. So quest. Reveal a card. Another location. Succeed by 8. 3 there, so that gets rid of you. What I need to be remembering to do is to stand Sam before any of that nonsense happens. But that goes. This goes. Escape to Buckland, so we never got this far before. So when revealed, add Buckleberry Ferry to the staging area. Done and done. And after several close calls with Black Riders, Frodo can tell they're hunting him. The Hobbits' only hope of escaping their dangerous pursuers is to cross the Brandywine River. If they can just make it to Buckleberry Ferry before they are caught. Flip it. So when revealed, get a Black Rider out. Why not? I mean, I've killed them all. Close, keep order. Can't cancel. And remember, this is being added to the staging area. Okay, so the hide 2 doesn't trigger. Although I had enough to probably get around it, even if it was a problem. And nothing else again, nothing new at least. Very nice, very nice. So I just need to explore Buckleberry Ferry. I will travel to Buckleberry Ferry, which is a hide 3 test. So I will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh wait, they're not questing. What did I do? I uncommitted Sam, so Sam should be committed, stood, and then knelt again. So it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, okay, 9 against 3. Please don't be bad. 1, 2, 3. So that was 6 versus 9. So I successfully hide, get away from the Black Rider. So that will allow me to optionally engage this guy, which gets me a card draw still. Lets me stand up. Boost my stats and deal a shadow card. Gaffer Gamgee comes back to hand, doesn't attack, hit for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, get rid of it, and then we pay 1 for Gildor, and I think we just win here. The only thing I need to worry about is a hide test, so I will. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to attach a fast hitch to Frodo. I will play Fang for 2. I will play Wolf for 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That lets me get out Grip. Close. Sorry, I don't know why I dragged it up there. Put it there. Close and shuffle. Lets me play Grip for 2. Hold on, let's take it off Sam. Then I can play Farmer Maggot for the remaining 3, nobody to do any damage to. Then I will quest. Currently succeeding by 8. Quest, which is fine. I will reveal an encounter card. Peril and Hide 2. Since I am here anyway, no, I might as well just get rid of the hide, right? So it's not got surge, so you will exhaust. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 on a hide 2, can't really fail. Only for 2. And then we place 10 progress. 10. Hooray! So that was a much better example of how that deck goes. A couple of interesting decisions, whether or not to keep Gildor out, having gotten him early. He came out in a really sweet story spot last time, so that would have been nice to have completed it the first time round, but still that was quite fun. Now when you complete the campaign, you flip over the campaign card, And choose Gandalf's Delay, or the ring draws them. So we didn't get that, but let's the next card up. Attach. You might as well get put in the bin. So I can choose Gandalf's Delay or the ring draws them. In a single player game, that is a game ender, so Gandalf's Delay is the one. Having one fewer card in my starting hand is not going to ruin the game by any stretch. I draw enough, particularly through Frodo's Intuition. And then my other choices are whether or not to keep Mr. Underhill or to keep Gildor. And Mr. Underhill is just too useful because the ongoing cost for Gildor is only really if you don't have these in your deck, and I do, so I'll keep Mr. Underhill. So the ferry boat moved slowly across the water, and Buckland Shore drew nearer. Sam was the only member of the party who had not been over the river before. He had a strange feeling as the slow gurgling stream slipped by. His old life lay behind in the mists. Dark adventure lay in front. He scratched his head, and for a moment had a passing wish that Mr. Frodo could have gone on living quietly at Bag End. Well, not to be, Sam, not to be. But we have successfully cleared that first quest. Because it's the first one, I don't particularly care if I'm supposed to do something about restarting, but I will look up the rules for that in the campaign. I think the second time I mostly hit those hide checks, right? I don't think there's a possibility I missed one, which I'd be sad about, but I think I got them. Maybe I'll watch it back and see. But we'll make some changes to the deck, and we'll go through the story again next time. Now, don't expect any more videos for a couple of days, as I'll be away at the UK Games Expo, where I first bought my Lord of the Rings. Actually, I got a second-hand copy. It came with most of the Dwarrowdelf cycle and the core sets, and I think maybe I had 2 or 3 core sets. I think I had 2 core sets because I did have to buy another one for a third copy of a couple of cards. That's how they used to sell it back then. And I went to my hotel room that night, just later on, maybe 10, 11 o'clock at night. I had this sitting for a few hours, and I was just so keen to play the game, and I went and I played the first quest, and I had no real idea what I was doing. But that must have been... how many years ago was that? First year it was at the NEC, so at least 7 years ago, I want to say, and regularly played the game since then. Still holds up, still one of my favourite card games. I'm enjoying this playthrough now with the going through the story, so watch the previous video if you want to know the story compared to the books and how the cards tell the story, and having a sort of thematic deck going through it. I hope I can keep quite a strong thematic deck going through it, but I know that some of the quests get quite difficult, so I will have to make some... I'll need some cards in particular that I'll have to put in just to have a chance of completing it. But done and done. Next time will be the Old Forest. Whose crazy idea is to go through that way, Mary? And until then, this is Rings Check signing off.